Mr Deputy Speaker, I rise to speak on the Veterans Affairs Legislation Amendment Bill of 2023, and at the outset I would like to acknowledge that the Coalition is supporting this bill, and I commend the work of the Member for New England on this bill, and together with the speakers whom I've heard in this place today, the Member for Spence, the Member for Paterson and the Member for Casey. This bill has bipartisan support, Deputy Speaker. It largely proposes miscellaneous and uncontroversial amendments across various acts that govern veterans' entitlements and compensation. And I would like to, at the outset, acknowledge the many veterans in my electorate, those who are at Holsworthy Barracks, the veterans' families, and all of the veterans who live in Hughes. As I travel around my electorate, Deputy Speaker, especially through mobile offices, it has been a privilege and a pleasure to meet veterans from many of our wars, from the Vietnam War through to the more recent wars in Afghanistan and also in Iraq. It has also been a great privilege to present many of them with certificates of appreciation, and I acknowledge the work that the current government is doing, and the Minister particularly, in that space. Before I turn to the bill itself, I want to also acknowledge Warrenora River RSL sub-branch, and I was very happy to attend there on Anzac Day and lay a wreath with there were over 1,500 other people that were present at that morning. It's a beautiful service down there, and it was a real privilege to be there. The president down there is Barry Grant, OAM. He's been president of the Warrenora RSL sub-branch since 2011, and he was state president of the Australian Commando Association for 18 years. In 2020, he was awarded an OAM for services to veterans and their families, and I've seen firsthand the work that he does down there at Warrenora, and he has worked particularly hard with another one of my constituents, Bree Till. Bree was married to a veteran who was killed in Afghanistan in March 2009. At the time, Bree was pregnant, and so tragically her son never met his father. But Barry then reached out to Bree Till, and Bree has now, who was formerly a teacher, has now dedicated her life to serving and to assisting veterans' families. Particularly, she's a community and peer advisor for Open Arms, which is the Veterans and Families Counselling Service. She's recently retrained in art therapy, counselling and psychotherapy, and is currently researching the benefits that art therapy can bring to the broader veteran community. Bree's from Warrenora. She lives in my electorate. She's also a good friend of mine, and I just commend the work that she has done, not only for her own family but for many children of veterans, as well as their broader family. So if I turn now, Deputy Speaker, to the bills itself, the bills itself essentially come in four schedules. They're minor amendments to 3 acts that govern veterans' entitlements. Those 3 acts are the Veterans Entitlements Act of 1986, the Safety, Rehabilitation and Compensation Defence-Related Claims Act of 1988, and also the Military Rehabilitation and Compensation Act of 2004. And in most cases, the amendments are designed to ensure consistency between the acts and to ensure veterans' entitlements align with amendments made to the Social Security Act of 1991. The first schedule, Schedule 1, relates to firefighters' alignment, and it ensures that ADF firefighters who are currently covered by the Safety, Rehabilitation and Compensation Act have identical arrangements to their civilian counterparts in relation particularly to claims for esophageal cancer. So whereas civilian firefighters are covered by the Safety, Rehabilitation and Compensation Act of 1988, firefighters are significantly at greater risk from esophageal cancer, primarily resulting from fire effluent particles that can be trapped within their body. So these amendments, this bill proposes to deal with a minor process, that those amendments made to the Veterans Entitlements Act apply from the commencement of that other legislation, and to bring that in line. The second schedule is concerned with employment programs, and it seeks to ensure parity between eligible recipients under the Veterans Entitlements Act with those under the updated Social Security Act of 1991. The provisions ensure that when the Employment Secretary determines that payments and benefits from Commonwealth, state or territory employment programs are exempt from income assessment for Social Security purposes, that this determination also applies to recipients under the Veterans Entitlements Act of 1986 and does not affect income support payments. So again, that is a proposition that is supported. The third schedule deals primarily with rental assistance, and again to ensure parity between the Social Security Act of 1991 and eligible veterans under the Veterans Entitlement Act of 1986, those being veterans who receive rental assistance while temporarily absent from Australia. The amendment will allow for an extension of the 26 weeks if the eligible person is unable to return to Australia due to unforeseen circumstances. And these may include things such as war, hospitalisation, the death of a family member, a natural disaster, political unrest, or a public health crisis overseas. The provisions will apply from the commencement of the making of the legislation, or where a person was overseas immediately before the commencement within the 26-day period. So again, providing rental assistance to eligible veterans is again something that we support. The fourth schedule, Deputy Speaker, relates to an acute support package, and the amendment extends assistance provided already under the acute support package under the Military Rehabilitation and Compensation Act of 2004 to eligible grandparents caring for the children of a deceased veteran. And this is particularly important. Grandparents across Australia, my own mother included, played a very big role in caring for our children when they were younger, and particularly for veterans, in cases where a veteran may have died, the assistance that grandparents provide and play already in caring for their grandchildren cannot be underestimated. The provisions provide that the deceased parent's death must be related to service or a suicide relating to service and must have occurred within 2 years of their eligibility. And the definition of the child must be under the age of 18 at the time of determination and deemed to be experiencing or at risk of experiencing crisis. And the definition of crisis has, in my view, been properly considered. It includes attributes such as mental health, substance abuse, homelessness, loss of employment, or a child who may be at risk of criminal activity and things along those lines. So again, this is very important, an important measure to assist, again, the children and grandchildren and grandparents of veterans. So to conclude, Deputy Speaker, I support this bill. The Coalition rightly supports this. It is completely appropriate that at all times where we can reach bipartisan support in relation to the veterans, in relation to those people those men and women who put their own lives at risk to serve us and to ensure that we can continue to enjoy many of the the benefits that we have in this country as a democracy with the rule of law and the various other institutions that we enjoy. So, to conclude, I commend this bill to the House. Thank you, Deputy Speaker.